Hi guys, welcome to the bitsmart.tech YouTube channel. We're working hard to bring you content on a weekly basis, and in this first video we're looking at the trouble with phishing. Phishing is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, passwords and credit card details by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity within an electronic communication. Typically carried out by email spoofing or instant messaging, a phishing attack will often direct users to enter personal information at a fake website which matches the look and feel of a legitimate site. It may also be as simple as sending an invoice to an email address with different bank details on it, but branded up to look like a company. That's another example of a phishing type email. Phishing is an example of social engineering techniques being used to deceive users. They're often lured by communications, like I said, purporting to be from trusted parties like websites, banks, online payment processors, or even senior management and IT admins within your organisation. And attempts to deal with these phishing incidents include things like legislation, user training, awareness, technical security measures, because these phishing attacks are constantly exploiting the weaknesses within web security. Now, there are loads of different types of phishing attacks out there, from vishing through to spear phishing, through to malware, spoofing, cloning and more. And if you want to find out more about the different types of phishing attacks out there, jump onto Google phishing attack types, and there are hundreds of thousands of different articles out there giving you loads of information. Now, phishing isn't new news, but it is more of a recurring bulletin which keeps popping up because people are still getting caught out, meaning that IT admins across the globe are fixing these phishing type problems for their teams. Now, don't get me wrong, it's getting harder to spot them, especially over the last 12 months, as a lot of them have become a lot cleaner and smoother and look almost the real deal. But there are still some glaringly obvious ones out there which people are falling for, which is why hackers, scammers and chancers are still doing phishing attacks. But there are some telltale signs out there for you to be able to keep an eye out for. And today in this video we're going to give you our top 6. So, header information. When an email hits your inbox, if the sender has set up their email client and account correctly, you'll see their name appear. So in this example, we've used Donald Trump. If his email hadn't been set up correctly, you might see something like donald.trump@thewhitehouse.us.gov or something along those lines. So without looking in detail, you won't know exactly which email address the emails come from, because all you see is that name. Now, to get this information is quite quick and quite easy, but it will be different depending on the email account that you use and the type of email account you use. Now, within the business world, organisations either use Microsoft products or Google products for their business email. For the people using Gmail and G Suite within the web browser, if you open the email, look under the name of the sender, you'll see a little down point and arrow. Click on that and you'll be able to see the header information and the email address of who has just emailed you. For the Microsoft users in the house, a little bit more long-winded, you need to open the message, click File on the top left, Properties, and in there you'll be able to find the header information. If the email address looks right, great, move on to the next check. If it doesn't, ignore it, delete it, and contact the person who's been impersonated to let them know. If you can't get hold of them, let their IT person know, or any person in that organisation, let them know so they can pass the message on. Point 2, spelling. Now, over here in the UK, we spell our words a little differently to most other English-speaking countries. While we use British English or the Queen's English, the rest of the world use International English. And while there isn't much difference between the two, International English uses the letter Z a lot more than we do. So if you receive an email which appears to have come from one of your contacts and the spelling is in International English, check that header because it could be a phishing email. Suspicious attachments and links. So most phishing emails will contain either or an attachment and link within them. Now attachments are typically invoices or those types of documents, whereas links will push you to a sign-in page. So if you're not expecting an invoice from someone and you get one, don't just blindly open it and pay it, especially if you're going to be using the details contained within the email body or the invoice without checking the spelling and where the emails come from first. And if you're still not sure, pick up the phone and call the person or the finance department of that business and get them to check the invoice number. If there's a link in the email, hover over it before clicking on it to reveal its destination through the tooltip. That way you can check where you're going to be directed to before pressing the button. And this way you'll hopefully be able to spot any obvious errors. Moving on from the attachments and the links to email signatures and logos. These two kind of come hand in hand, the signatures and logos and the attachments and the links. Phishing emails can be spotted quite quickly, especially if they look to have come from someone you know, because you can just check their email signature. Chances are they'll have a logo on it. Does that logo and branding match the normal quality? Is the logo correct? Lots of organisations rebrand every so often. Look at Microsoft. The Windows logo has gone from being a swirl, like a swirl, to 4 squares, like a window. If that organisation that you've just received an email from is using the swirly Windows logo, that could be a warning sign. You may also notice that the phishing email lacks an email signature altogether. This doesn't automatically mean that an email is suspicious, especially if the sender emails regularly from a mobile device, because not all users will have the know-how or will have done a signature for their mobile devices. Does the email scream urgency? If it does, this could be something called whaling, which is a highly targeted phishing attack. Chances are the attackers will be wanting you and waiting for you to enter your details into a website in order for them to be able to record your keystrokes and gain access to your machine, or maybe plant malware or something similar onto your machine. They could be requesting a payment or asking you to transfer funds into the attacker's bank account, or simply just looking to get more information and additional details about your business or individuals in your business to be able to initiate further attacks at a later date. Number 6, don't send them on. If you get a suspicious looking email, don't forward it to anyone. Because if you do, and your machine's infected, you could be sending viruses, spyware, something worse, not only to the recipient of the email, but you could be pushing it out to your entire address book, or worse. If you need to send a copy of an email to your IT person or to the sender for verification, take a screenshot to reduce the likelihood of spread. If you don't know how to take a screenshot, if you're using a Windows machine, this can be done by pressing the print screen button on your keyboard, or by pressing Windows with Shift and S to open the snipping tool. If you're a Mac OS user, you can click Command Shift and 3 to take a full screenshot, or Command Shift and 4 again for that snipping tool. So that's just 6 ways of spotting a phishing email. If you're ever in doubt, don't open any attachments, don't open links, and ask the sender. Chances are they won't mind and they'll be grateful of your vigilance. And if you don't have an IT person providing you and your business with support, what is the reason for that? IT support is critical in this data-driven business world. It doesn't have to cost the earth, and it can come in so many different formats. If you want to know more, check out www.bitsmart.tech to arrange a conversation. Thank you for listening.